Hello, hello. This is Kill2 and T-Days for the last match of the fifth day of Alliance Tournament 7. Rounding out the round 32, we have Brick Squad versus Atlas Alliance. Brick Squad on your left, bringing 2 Armageddons, 1 Redeemer, 1 Absolution, 1 Guardian, 2 Succubus, 1 Heretic, 1 Vengeance, and 1 Crusader.
And Atlas have brought an Eos, 2 Harbinger, 2 Myrmidon, a Guardian, a Curse, a Jaguar, and a Stiletto.
And these teams are really well split up. Most of the Brick Squad team very close to the beacon with their Guardian and their Heretic out at range, and the entire Atlas team is together about 50k from the beacon. So there's some range between them, but really I guess Atlas should suffer more from that, but both teams really doing their best around 20k distance between them. So damage will be light at first, and then they'll all probably wind up pretty close together before long.
Yeah, just waiting for the countdown now to start this match off. It's interesting, they brought the tier 2 battle cruisers for Atlas, deciding not to bring the tier 1, which in my opinion are a better value points wise.
But they've had good luck with them so far. They lost their first match with missiles, and then in their second match they brought Harbingers, Hurricanes, and Myrmidons and did just fine. That was against Systematic Chaos, so I guess they gained some confidence there and want to stick with that.
Yeah, they swapped out the Brutix for another Myrmidon, it looks like, on my notes. Interesting on the Brick Squad though, they've got a Redeemer in there, which is a Black Ops, which you don't see very many of other than the Widows, because the Widow's obviously getting the ECM bonus. There's been many people asking whether or not you should actually bring Black Ops to the tournament.
Yeah, I think the Redeemer particularly, I mean the Sin as well, are definitely questionable. The Redeemer is like, it's got an extra mid slot, it's got one less turret slot than an Armageddon, so it's 6 lasers up top. Most of its role is designed for Covart Sinos and other tricky things like that, so it's definitely a weird thing to bring to the tournament. I guess it's got some synergy with the Armageddons, but really an Abaddon would probably fill the role just as well and have a lot more advantages in terms of tank and damage output.
Yeah, the Abaddon definitely is more DPS. It would be nice to see that as well, but it looks like a countdown will be shortly and we'll get this match underway.
One thing that's sweet is this is a full Amar setup on the left, the Sancha. If you include that, that's the most yellow we've seen on one side so far in the tournament. And Konatis was asking for a CVA setup. This is about as close as you'll get, I'd say.
Yeah, and it makes a change from all the blue that we've been seeing with the Caldari heavy setups.
Yeah, there's not a single Caldari ship in this fight. How about that? No Rooks and no Drake, so Rias can sleep tonight.
Yeah, the match has begun, and we have damage on one of the curse for Atlas. Yeah, the only curse for Atlas. He's into armour now. Should hopefully be repped by that Guardian. Obviously, the curse very useful in this match because of all the turret battleships on the other side for Brick Squad, so they're going to primary him.
This is really interesting. The Atlas team not making any hurry to get in range of the Brick Squad team. Brick Squad really able to hit them already. Scorch ammo from the lasers offering them enough range to do fine. They're headed in the other direction though. None of their battlecruisers have guns on from what I can tell. It looks like now they're starting to turn on, but I don't really know why they're flying away. The Myrmidons can do that, you know, and use the DPS for damage, but I mean, sorry, the drones for damage. But they have turret ships as well. I'm surprised that the Harbingers aren't headed in there to tackle and start putting damage on these Armageddons or the Absolution.
Yeah, Atlas Curse holding in their armour, taking a few knocks, but is being repped back, I am sure, by that Guardian, because he rep cycles going off. On the Brick Squad side, we have the Absolution taking some damage there, and the Heretic as well. Looks like the smaller ships are probably going after what they can get near, but it looks like the Absolution is indeed the primary target.
Yeah, the Absolution is going down pretty fast, which is surprising. The Guardian is able to run reps. I think that this battlecruiser team having no problem putting out their max potential damage, it would have to be, considering the ships they have. Whereas the Brick Squad team, I think, is struggling. I think that between the Curse and any E-War tracking disruptors that might be on those battlecruisers, Brick is really struggling to get any damage onto that Atlas team.
It certainly looks like obviously the Curse gets a bonus to tracking disrupting, and all the turret battleships on the Brick Squad side definitely not putting any damage out at all. The Guardian now taking a couple of volleys in, their shield's gone, armour now holding up fairly well, the Curse still holding up fairly well, and it looks like we're going to lose a Succubus and probably the Absolution.
The Absolution is a really strange target choice for the Atlas team. It's probably a little less DPS than the battleships, and actually probably a little more tank. Its resistances will certainly be higher, so as long as the Guardian's able to run its reps, which I think it is, yeah, it's definitely repairing that. Absolution should tank probably better than the battleships would have. So a really interesting target choice there. I'm not sure why they thought that was a key ship.
I wonder if they're taking that because it's also a battle cruiser and therefore it would be more dangerous to their battle cruisers. The battleships, as we discussed earlier, with the battleship class weapons against battle cruisers do less damage, especially with the curse available. Although the curse might not be available for much longer because he is got a bit of structure damage there now. I'm sure that the Myrmidons have probably got some tracking disruptors on as well though. So when they take out the Absolution, that'll be the majority of the DPS. And yeah, the curse is down.
That was really quick. The damage all of a sudden became a real deal on the curse, and he went down super fast. So the Absolution's still hanging in there. That Guardian keeping him up just barely, and with the curse gone, some of this brick damage might be able to open up a little bit if some of the tracking disruptors are gone, and if the curse had any neutralizers on the Guardian, that would make a really big difference, and those will be gone now as well. So we'll have to see. It looks like Brick's now going to shoot at that Atlas Guardian, and he's going down. I don't think he'll be able to tank for a bit long.
He's not holding up at all. He's dropping off quite quickly. The Absolution holding around in structure at the moment, so it looks like the DPS has reduced significantly. There goes the Guardian. That could be a big problem.
Wow, yeah, that really changes things. I can't believe that Absolution didn't go down and that the curse went down so quick, and now the Guardian without logistics support, the rest of these Atlas battlecruisers not going to have anything to keep them up. And for the most of the tournament so far, we've seen unsupported battlecruisers with pretty light tanks, or at least they appear very light once no reps are on them and they are forced to take damage. That Absolution continuing to go down though. He's now really low structure, and that could make a difference if there's still tracking disruptors on the Atlas team on those Myrmidons, and they've got them all in the battleships right now, and the Absolution is putting out a pretty significant amount of damage. Once he goes down, things might change again. Who knows?
Yeah, it's certainly quite tight at this point. I suspect that the battleships will be trying to split up a little bit at this point to try and negate some of the tracking issues, because when the battlecruisers start orbiting one of the battleships, you want to be split up somewhat to reduce the transversal on the rest of the guns.
Yeah, that's really smart. That's a good tactic. If you've got a couple ships where the tracking is hurting, we did just lose that Absolution, so we'll have to see if things change. I kind of don't think they will. I kind of still like Brick Squad's position right now, but I am guessing that the battleships for Brick Squad will go down faster than the Absolution did. So it looks like Atlas now going to shoot at the Brick Guardian.
Yeah, the Harbinger is holding in there pretty well at the moment. They've now started shooting at the other Harbinger. Maybe the first Harbinger went out of range. It would be sensible to do so. They need to keep themselves alive as much as possible. They can still put out some DPS at range with the right crystals.
It's interesting, the Brick Squad team really needs some tackling with these battleships. They have decent range with Scorch. They should be able to get to 40k or so and still do okay damage, but getting stuff like the Harbinger webbed, especially if there's a lot of tracking disruptors on the field, can be really important. And from what I can tell, those two support ships, the Vengeance and the Heretic, are not tackling this Harb. He's not webbed, that's for sure. And it looks like he's going 600 meters a second or so, which is pretty fast.
Yeah, we've got the Jaguar and the Heretic are playing with each other at the moment as well, and not much going on there at the moment. The Guardian for Brick, he's looking like he's going to pop. He's repping, I'm obviously assuming he's got some rep drones around him, but he's repping back just enough to keep him alive at the moment. Harbinger might well pop before the Guardian does it, and if that happens, I think it's going to be all over.
Yeah, that Guardian does have 5 heavy armor maintenance bots on him. A lot of the time we see a couple lights left over late in these fights, but those are a full rack of heavies, so that's pretty substantial and could keep him up, especially if they get this Harb out of the way and maybe get one more battlecruiser down. That could be enough to just keep him in good shape. The Guardian obviously not really range limited, so he can do whatever he can to avoid the fight for the duration if he's going to be the primary.
Yeah, and that Harb did go down, so it's now a matter of time to decide whether or not they have enough DPS to take the Guardian down. It's still falling down at the moment, slowly. It's getting a few rep cycles in from those drones, as we're going to lose that Jaguar, I think. And yes, I've got a stat here, Rook, most unfortunate destroyed ship so far.
There's an interesting decision here. The Guardian, a lot of the damage it looks to me that the Guardian is taking is coming from drones from the Myrms, and from that EOS, and if the Guardian would have done it earlier, he could have dragged those drones over on top of some of the Brick Squad smart bombs. I saw the Redeemer, I think, smart bombing, and tried to take care of those and take some pressure off of him. At this point, it's too late. The smart bombs would probably finish him off. But it looks like the drones are going to do that anyway, and there won't be any decisions to be made for him at all.
Well, there goes the Guardian. So the match is flip-flopping again. We now have the Harbinger 2 Myrmidons and the EOS. Can they now get in close enough? And we're assuming that the Myrmidons are tracking disrupting. It's a fairly safe guess most of the time. If they can get on that Redeemer and keep those 2 Armageddons from doing any serious damage. But it looks like that second Harbinger is going to drop before anything else. There we go. So damage-wise, Atlas are now looking a bit light. If Brick Squad can get their damage down with those 3 Armor battleships, they will win quite convincingly.
Yeah, this is a really close match. The next target for Atlas is going to be the Brick Squad Redeemer. He's already at about half armor. He's going down pretty quickly. And it looks like a Myrmidon is going to be the next target for Brick Squad. I actually like Atlas's position here, even though they have a lot less points left on the field, or at least some less points left on the field. Their damage is not affected at all by the E-War that Brick Squad has, if any, because it's mostly drone-based, whereas, well, I suppose the Smart Bomb's affected, but we'll have to see if that comes into play. I still see that Redeemer running Smart Bombs right now, so if they can keep the drones off, maybe that would flip the match again, but right now, both ships taking damage despite whatever counters both teams still have on the field.
It looks like the Redeemer and the Myrmidon are sort of linked armour at the moment because they're dropping it around about the same rate. But the problem is for the Atlas team, if they lose that Myrmidon, they're down to just the Myrmidon EOS for damage, and there's still 2 Armageddons on the field.
And they're limited by the Smart Bombs, so whatever damage, those drones that are left can't be there forever as long as that Redeemer is running those Smart Bombs. The Redeemer, though, with a long match like this, Cap will definitely come into play. Smart Bombs are not easy on Cap. And there goes that Myrmidon. So the Redeemer still alive, along with the 2 Armageddons and the Heretic. Now only 1 Myrmidon, 1 EOS, and that Stiletto left for Atlas.
Yeah, I think at this point that the Redeemer is still dropping slowly. He's gone into structure now. That Myrmidon might finish him off, but with the EOS attacking there as well. But I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that Myrmidon alive long enough to make any dent on that Armageddon.
Wow, it looks to me like some of the Brick Squad ships are trying to shoot the Stiletto. I really don't know why they would spend their time. It looks to me like an Armageddon was. There goes that Redeemer. I guess they could be thinking that Stiletto might have some E-War and that it would be worth taking it out if they can one-volley it, but obviously they can't one-volley it. They haven't even hit it yet, and it doesn't look like it's running any E-War either, so they really should make sure that their effort is spent on that Myrmidon. Getting as much DPS off the field as possible. Now the Heretic for Brick Squad taking some damage.
Yeah, we lost that Redeemer finally when the Myrmidon was still in half armour. It looked like the damage had stopped on him, but now it's started again. Look at it go, there we go, structure, and no, there we go, down. So we now have the EOS and Stiletto against the 2 Armageddons and Heretic.
Yeah, this is looking pretty comfortable now for the Armageddons now that all the battlecruisers are off the field for Atlas, but that's actually a really close match, really interesting. This EOS is running a local armor tank. So we'll have to see if that's enough to stand up to the Armageddon. It doesn't really look like it's going to be. It looks like he's got some mid slots taken up by ECCM, EOS does, so probably not any E-War left, maybe a little bit, but probably not any. And by this point, he could be hurting for Cap as well, so probably nothing really standing in the way of these Armageddons, just burning him down, and then that'll really do it.
Yeah, probably just the Stiletto for Atlas with any significant E-War at the moment. I did see him scramming the Heretic from time to time, so he's using probably a mid-slot for a propulsion mod and a mid-slot for tackle. So probably maybe 2 tracking disruptors or something if he's got those. It's not going to matter at this point though because the EOS is in structure and looks like the Armageddon's having no difficulty whatsoever hitting him at this point. And he's got a couple of rep cycles in, but it's not going to keep him up. And we're going to be down to 2 Armageddons and a Heretic against a single Stiletto.
I really like the idea of the command ship as a heavy tackler. It's really expensive in the tournament, so it might not be worth it, but if you want to bring gang links anyway, a lot of the time using a ship that runs a pretty heavy tank and doesn't do a lot of damage as a tackler is awesome because you use a support ship as a tackler and it becomes a problem and they kill it really quickly, whereas the EOS can really run around, scram stilettos, scram rooks, whatever, and nobody's really going to shoot it because it would take so much time. So yeah, it's not bad for that. I really don't see this Brick Squad team being able to stop the Stiletto if he wants to waste our time, but it could be. The Heretic is not a terrible tackler, and he is still on the field.
Yeah, the Heretic regened its shields back a bit. The Stiletto was scramming him earlier. Not entirely certain that a Stiletto would make much of a dent against a Heretic, but we're now just waiting for the match to finish. Obviously, the winners out of this will be Brick Squad, and they will be going through till tomorrow, and we shall see them again. Unfortunately, Atlas are out.
And there's a lot of good fights in local. Claw again asking if it's alright to end the match, even though there's the stiletto left. It's funny how the teams seem to be unable to communicate with their really stubborn interceptor pilots.
I think he just wants his 5 minutes of fame, so I shall give him his 5 minutes of fame by not reading his name out.
Mug. His name is Mug. So, yeah. The Heretic is a really awesome ship. It's interesting, we haven't seen very many Heretics. We've seen a lot of Sabres. The Heretic's a pretty odd choice because obviously it suffers a serious mid-slot deficiency compared to most of the destroyers.
It's weird because the Coercer has just the one mid-slot and the Heretic has quite a few more. So
how many does it have?
Is it 3 or 4? That's a very good question.
Well, we're not PvP experts, so we don't know. Someone was able to hit the stiletto, which is very exciting. Yes. I don't know what he's doing wrong, but his shields are taking damage now.
We've been told that the stiletto pilot, the unnamed stiletto pilot, has turned his micro warp drive off, so they're now able to hit him.
I want to find out how many mid slots. 3 mid slots on Heretic, which is a lot.
So it gets 2 more than the base model, which is fine.
But
yeah, it also got the missile bonus, I believe.
Right, rockets. Yeah.
Rockets, yeah.
Rockets are pretty terrible. Well, I feel comfortable calling this match.
I don't know. It could go either way.
I have no authority to do so, but I think we can go ahead and end it right here and congratulate Brick Squad on a good fight. We'll see them in the round of 16.
Oh, we are.
Well, you can call it a lot of things, but yeah, I think that is probably a congratulation to Brick Squad. We have the match still going just out of the corner of our eyes, so we can see if there's anything that crazy happens, but I think this is probably it.
I think short of the Brick Squad deciding to self-destruct, this match is probably they're going to win it.
It's probably going to go. Maybe if we use our minds, we can will him to stop and just fly towards them or something. Do you think that could work?
I think teams should start bringing 10 interceptors because no one is capable of killing them.
Well, they can bring 8 interceptors, but not 10.
They should bring 10.
But then you get disqualified.
You're not allowed. You can only
and 2 heretics.
There we go. 2. Yes, that would work.
That would work.
Yeah.
Well, I think as this draws to a close, that was the last match of the day.
That's right.
Which is amazing because we're nearly at the end of the Alliance tournament now. It goes so quickly.
It does.
Which is incredible. And I mean, we can give some shout outs. Is there anyone you want to shout out to?
Yes.
Go for it.
Go first.
Likey's Murat Serif. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he promised me a Navy Mega if I said his name. So I tried to make a T-shirt with his face on it, but I failed.
No one promised to give me any ships, so I'm not going to do any shout-outs.
I'll give you a ship.
Oh, excellent. I'll give a shout-out to Kill2, my co-commentator. And also a shout-out to Agony, who obviously didn't get through to this weekend, but I'm here, and we've got the logos, so in spirit.
Good job, Agony.
Good job.
I'm going to give a shout-out to Mama SG and Cats SG. Give them a wave. They're very important. Normally they're hiding in IRC, so if you see them, give them a wave too. And a shout out to all the people who actually told me where they were from in the forums. And we had some really cool places: Croatia, Wales, Alaska, the Netherlands, Australia, Camp Leatherneck in Afghanistan, which is pretty cool. Misawa, Japan, Colombia, Denmark, Poland, Republic of Moldova, Finland, Norway, Sweden, in no particular order, Serbia, and loads and loads more. So that's really interesting.
Hello, everybody.
And just the start. So hi guys from all over the world. It's amazing that you tuned in. Also, I highly recommend looking at CCP Whispers, what you're watching the tournament on thread. There's some revealing pictures as to how people have been watching. What we meant was what screen you were using, not
not what's on your screen.
Or what you were wearing whilst you were watching. But thanks for the pictures. I mean, they were highly entertaining.
One more shout out.
Oh, go for it.
Everyone in the Alliance Tournament channel, it's been a ball. If anyone wants to join us in the Alliance Tournament channel, I can't promise that my other commentators will pay attention, but I'll try to. It's been good fun.
And a shout out to Split Infinity Radio, New Eden Radio, and Eve Radio for giving us so much wonderful coverage over the course of the last 3 weeks. That's another one. Anything else?
No, I think just tune in tomorrow.
Tune in tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to pass you back to Uncle Soundwave in the studio. Bye, guys.